Bitter rivalry between the United States and the USSR is the original sin of For All Mankind. It drives the series' alt history space race, national shame at the Soviets getting to the moon first, prompting technological advances decades ahead of our timeline, allowing the decrepit, corrupt Soviet Union to sidestep implosion in 1991. I say original sin because, in the science fiction utopia that For All Mankind, presumably, aims at, earthly politics must be transcended if space exploration is to have a future. To judge by 7 Minutes of Terror, we are far from utopia. Things start out civilized enough, with the joint American-Russian funeral service for the casualties of last episode's collision between Sojourner 1 and Mars 94. Kaplan, Halliday, and a cosmonaut are being given a burial in space. Danielle, Chris Marshall, quotes Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., "There is democracy in death," while Grigory Kuznetsov, Lev Gorn, speaks a touching short eulogy for his comrades. The dead, lashed together like a three-headed mummy, spirals into the inky void. That's pretty much the last dignified collaboration between the Americans and Soviets, as paranoia spreads, and the final scene devolves into satirical slapstick, with Danielle pushing Kuznetsov off the gangplank to be first on the surface of Mars. Not all space grudges are over capitalism versus communism. Thanks to software whiz Nick, Daniel David Stewart, Ed, Joel Kinnaman, regains control of Phoenix from Dev, Edi Gathaji. Nick rebooted the ship's software and was able to delete the overwrite code that gave Helios mission control remote command of the ship. Ed sends a message to Dev that the Helios CEO dishonored the ship and crew, and Ed intends to wash that stain clean. They'll continue to Mars, but on Ed's terms. As we'll see, that means for better or worse. Shaken by Dev's reptilian megalomania from last episode, Karen, Chantel Van Santen, submits her resignation letter, which Dev refuses to accept. She points to the fact that her daughter Kelly, Cynthia Wu, might have died trying to save the Soviets and that 3 people did lose their lives. Dev rejects the notion that he's responsible for the Soviets burning out their engines or for forcing the superpowers to move their launch window up to 1994. Karen walks anyway, daring Dev to sue her. Aboard Phoenix, more dangerous rifts are forming. Danny, KCW Johnson, is still obsessing over Karen, watching enviously as Ed opens a video letter from his ex-wife, in which she tells Ed that she quit Helios and how proud she is of his earlier decision to rescue the Russians. Later, Danny gets the ship system password from Nick and hacks into Ed's D-mail, spying on his exchanges with Karen. It's all very seedy and sad, and we'll see if or how Danny finds something he can use against Ed or Karen. For her part, Karen seems relieved to be free of Helios as she visits Wayne, Lenny Jacobson, at his plush, ranch-style home with Molly, unseen this week. Molly, in the aftermath of getting fired from NASA, has taken up painting. Karen and Wayne get stoned on something Wayne fries up called goo balls and discuss their future. Karen hates space but loves business and building from the ground up. The other Earth-based narrative is at NASA, with the walls closing in around Margot, who had passed tech secrets back and forth with Sergei for a decade. Tragedy makes strange bedfellows, and now that cosmonauts have joined Donnie's crew aboard Sojourner, the Soviet Space Commission Roscosmos sends its flunky bureaucrat Lenora Katic, Vera Cherney, to the Johnson Space Center to work alongside Margot for the Mars landing. Margot doesn't trust the intimidating Lenora, who makes it clear behind closed doors that the Soviets intend to continue pressuring her for information. Lenora wants access to Sojourner equipment so the Soviet cosmonauts can continue their mission once they've landed on Mars. Seems the Russians don't care that America just saved their butts, they want to press their advantage, with their compromat over Margot, to take advantage of US tech. Margot quietly seethes, and counters that she'll only work with Sergei, get him to Houston in 2 weeks or no deal. Comparing the photos of Mars 94 taken, pre-collision, by Sylvie, Aleda notes shocking similarities between the Soviet nuclear thermal engines and the ones she designed for NASA. Once is happenstance. Twice is coincidence. 3 times is enemy action, Aleda mutters to herself as she compares measurements. We should have known the second we could refuel, Aleda later tells Margot. Their LH2 drain coupling mated exactly with our in-situ propellant hose. The odds of that being a coincidence are insane. Margot says she can't throw a monkey wrench into the Soviet-US collaboration. After landing she'll notify the Justice Department.